All right, I already made an offensive video, and I promised you that things would be happening on the defensive side of things. Defensive stats aren't as easy to show here for preseason football, but just in case you didn't see the first one, Lions put up a 20-0 second quarter in route to beat the Panthers 26-17. The last time we went to Carolina, it was unbelievably painful for us, so I'm so glad we didn't have to deal with that again. But the Lions looked good. The depth showed. And I did a video earlier where I talked about how I thought the depth of the defense has surpassed the offense. This is a game where both sides finally showed their depth, and it was really, really nice to see. But the defense has a lot more difficulty. If you see our earlier video on the offense, I think it's pretty easy to know. Okay, it's not easy. There's going to be weird stuff that's going to happen, but it was a lot easier for me to predict who is going to make the roster on the offensive side of the ball. But there were some guys that really did a great job and really didn't. So I'm going to share with you some of the takeaways. I'm going to read it right now that I wrote down during this. And the first one was Stephen Gilmore. He had a big hit. And you're like, all right, he's off to a great start. And then he struggled for a series or two. And then as the talent started to wane, he started playing better. But I didn't see Gilmore playing with that same urgency that he had played with in the second game. I don't know what that was about. But if you want to keep it in the defensive backfield, a guy who is playing with great urgency and always is Chase Lucas. And the interception that he made as Carolina was about to score was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic to see this team come up with those types of things. And then Gilmore, don't get me wrong, had an interception later. Again, I stopped watching this game mid through the fourth quarter to come record this. I find out later that he has an interception, all this kind of stuff, yada, yada, yada. It is what it is. But Chase Lucas, what I wrote down on my notes, I'm pointing right here because I have him on my screen, is did Chase Lucas just make this team? Dan Campbell said he fights every single day to make this roster. Does he have the ability to play enough? Can he play outside? Can he play in the nickel? Is he good enough on special teams to maybe get an edge over a Gilmore, to get an edge over somebody like that? I'm not sure who I want to make this. I don't know. I really don't. But what I do know is that we have a few corners that are really vying for this. And Starling Thomas is the only one that it's like, yeah, he's clearly there. He's there and he's ready and he looks like an NFL player. The other guys, Chase Lucas, Gilmore, have times. Last week, Gilmore absolutely looked like an NFL player. This week, yes and no. Yes and no. He looked like he was good against weaker opponent, but when he had to play against a good receiver or a good marginal receiver, he struggled. So it was kind of interesting to watch. I think the other one that we can confidently say goodbye to is Dorsey. I understand he forced a fumble, which was a fantastic hit. He got low, put his shoulder right on the football. Great hit, but he got beat bad multiple times before that. Yes, he had a good kick return, but a lot of people can return kicks. I think that's what we're seeing. Antoine Green had a good kick return. Last week, Starling Thomas had a good kick return. Like, people can return kicks. He didn't show the same burst that Starling Thomas did on his kick return. He didn't show the same burst, I don't even think, that Antoine Green had. So, yeah, he had a good kick return, but I don't think that's what's going to make him there. But I want to talk about the defense overall. And what I loved about the defense in this game is they made plays. They made plays. You see here that they had 2 fumble recoveries. Okay, 2 fumble recoveries. Well, I'm sorry, 1 fumble recovery. One was Adrian Martinez. That's not good. He covered his own. All right, but then they had 2 interceptions. They're forcing interceptions. They are returning kicks well. They are making plays in the red zone on defense. These are young players making good plays. What that means is that this is a well-coached team. It's weird watching the backups and thinking to myself, man, I have a little more confidence in our starters not being rusty against Kansas City because our backups aren't rusty. And part of it's because backups have played in the preseason game. But the other one is like, man, this team must be doing well. Like there must be good coaching because they're playing good situational football. Like seriously, if you just go back, I have NFL Plus, so I can go back, I can look at some of these things, and if I watch Starling Thomas on every play, he knows where he's supposed to be every single time. He plays well in zone, he plays well in man. That's a rookie. That's good coaching. Thank you, Dre Bly. Right? Like fantastic work. When I watch a lot of these players, I'm like, they're exactly where they're supposed to be. Which, by the way, can I talk about this? I understand that you get tired at D tackle, so you need to rotate people in. You need to rotate people in. What in the world was Isaiah Buggs doing in the game in the third quarter? What was that? Is he out of shape? Like, did he make somebody angry? Is he not playing up to his potential? Is he in the doghouse? What in the world is a guy that you're talking about getting meaningful snaps that you've given some money to, not a ridiculous contract by any stretch of the imagination? What is this dude playing in the third quarter with third stringers? Why was he in there? And then it's like, did he just get hurt? I think he just lost his wind or whatever that looks like. But man, oh man. And you could even say, you could see Campbell, if you can read lips, he goes, is that Bugs? Like, dang it. Like, why is Bugs in there? And so I don't know what was happening with Bugs being in the game. But here's what I do know. There is a battle going on in the back. And I would say one of the guys that we all love, he's a great special teams player, but I just think it's going to be hard for him to make this team is Brady Breeze. Because if he makes this team, he is a liability if he has to play in the game. He is a phenomenal special teams player. He'd probably be a better special teams player than any player who would make the team as the fourth safety. But can he actually play in a game? And there was a play that I think kind of told the story about that with Brady Breeze. He was on a tight end and he was trying to cover him. Instead of wrapping with the left, deflecting with the right, he reached with the left because he was already beat. He didn't have the speed to stay with the tight end. And then the tight end turned it upfield for another 10, 15 yards. These are the kind of things where it's like, oh, third string tight end just did that to you. Like, imagine what happens if you're in the game. Tricky. So those are anyways just some early takeaways. We're going to be talking more as the week goes on about what that looks like. Cuts, I believe, are 4:00 on Tuesday. 4:00 on Tuesday, I think. So you're going to find a lot more. We'll be talking about the cuts, who made the roster, what to expect from those players, so on and so forth going forward. So leave a comment, subscribe, like the video. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.